Sue. I'm an instructor as well as the owner of Pilates Studio, and I'm going to be taking you through a gentle Pilates class today. Our gentle Pilates classes are beginner friendly, and we're going to be working towards strengthening and mobilizing the body throughout the class. I'm not using any equipment for this class, so really all you need is your mat, and then we can get started. Alright, I'm going to start standing at the edge of our mats. So you're just going to bring your feet underneath you. Feet are hip width and parallel to each other, and we're just going to stand up nice and tall through the spine. Take a moment to relax your shoulders away from your ears, and just feel yourself lengthening up nice and tall and spreading the weight out through the bottom of the feet. So we're going to inhale to stretch both of those arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, lengthen arms down beside your body. Start to curl your chin forward, feeling that stretch into the back of the neck. Softly bend your knees first, and then we're going to dive forward and down towards our mat. Just going down as low as you can comfortably go into that forward stretch, letting your neck feel nice and relaxed here. I'm keeping the soft bend in the knees, and this is a nice opportunity for you to just check the position of your feet. You want about enough space for one of your hands to fit between your feet. Let's take a deep breath in here. And as you exhale, scoop the navel to the spine. And slowly start to roll back up again, stacking one vertebra on top of the next, just in a nice flowing movement, until once again you're standing nice and tall. Imagine you're pressed up against a wall behind your body. Inhale, reach the arms back up overhead. Exhale to bring the arms back down. Relax the shoulders, nod the chin forward, and soften into those knees. Once again, let's dive our way down towards the mat. Making sure you're nice and centered here, so there's equal weight on both of your feet and you're looking just straight through the legs. Your arms are relaxed. Take a deep breath in at the bottom. Exhale, once again, draw the tummy muscles in and up, press down through the feet, and as you roll up, think about gently pushing your hips forward as we unravel the spine, vertebra for vertebra. One more time, coming up to stand. We're going to reach our arms up. This time we're going to interlace our fingers at the top. You can keep your palms facing down, or you can flip them up towards the ceiling and just dive over to one side, stretching through the side of your body. Inhale, and exhale to bring it back to the center. We're going to go the other way. Inhale, diving over to the side. Exhale, we bring it back to the center again. Release your arms down beside you. Bring the chin forward once again. Softly bend your knees and start to lean down towards those toes. We're going to roll down, letting your head leading you down towards your mat. You go as low as you can go. It doesn't matter if your fingers are touching the mat or not. You're going to stay here looking towards your legs. Keep your right knee bent and just try to straighten the left knee out a little bit more. So the left side of your pelvis is going to lift a little bit higher, and you're going to get a nice hamstring stretch into the back of that leg. We're going to switch it over. Soften into your left knee, straighten your right knee, or feeling the stretch in the other leg. And then let both of your knees bend as much as you need to get your hands on the mat. We're going to walk our hands forward, lower your knees gently onto your mat, and we're coming into our 4-point kneeling position. So hands are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips. You can untuck your toes here, just lengthen out through your shins, and then let your spine feel like it's lengthening out. We're going to hold this position so you're like a nice little table. Try to draw the shoulders gently away from your ears and lift the tummy muscles for a little bit of support around your spine. Take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, we tuck the tailbone. We're going to round into our cat stretch. I'm pushing through my arms and I'm pushing through my shins. Those shoulder blades are going to spread apart. You're going to get that stretch into the lower back. And then lengthen out. We're going to gently arch through the spine. So you can allow your tummy to drop, lift your gaze, and feel as though you are opening up your chest, just to a comfortable position. Inhale. Exhale, let's go 2 more times. We're going to flex into the spine, tuck the tailbone, press down into your mat, and lift your tummy muscles. Lengthen out, feeling that nice ripple through the spine as we arch through the back on the inhale breath. And one more time. Exhale, and we round into the spine. Shoulder blades spread apart. Lengthen yourself back out, allowing the tummy to drop into that arch as you lift your sitting bones, lift your gaze. And then you come back just to a neutral position, so we're going to be looking down towards our mat, somewhere just in front of the hands, and then holding this shape here. You're going to push down strongly into your right arm, so we're going to press the way through our right arm. Keep that arm strong. Your left arm becomes light. We're going to float the left arm up, and we're going to bring our fingertips to touch the forehead with your palm facing down towards the floor. You're going to push so much so into your right arm that you start to lift your left elbow. We're going to rotate to look towards the left corner of the room as much as you can. Then keep your right arm straight, but rotate towards your own bicep, like you want to get your chest to touch your bicep and your elbow will droop down towards the floor. 2 more times. Inhale, breath to push and open up towards the left, so just lifting that left elbow. Exhale, internally rotating into that shoulder, dropping down towards your mat. 1 more time. So you're twisting through the spine and we're definitely working into that right shoulder. Inhale. Exhale, roll in towards your bicep. Come back to the center. Switch those arms. So we're going to press down through our left arm this time. Keep that left arm strong. Bring right fingertips to the forehead, palm facing down. Push through the left arm, rotate to the right. So lifting that right shoulder up as you rotate. Exhale, we roll in towards our own bicep, chest to bicep. And let's do 2 more. Inhale, breath, we open up to the right. Exhale, we roll in towards our own shoulder. And last time, strong push through that left arm. Exhale and roll back in towards your bicep. And then bring yourself back just to your centered position and plant both of those hands back down onto your mat. I'm going to walk the hands backwards towards the knees and let's come to roll up onto a high kneeling position here. Knees are under the hips, feet straight back behind your knees. And you're going to start by thinking about tucking your tailbone in underneath you. So hips stay nice and flat. A little bit of a squeeze into the glutes as well to stabilize your pelvis. Arms beside the body, my palms are facing back. You want to think about opening and broadening your chest as you press your arms back. You're going to turn your chin to look over your left shoulder as much as you can. As you face forward, bring your arms out in front of your chest and lean back from your knees. Just as far as you can go that you start to feel that little burn through the front of the thighs. Alright, we pivot forward. We're going to look over the other shoulder this time. So press the hands back and turn to look over your right shoulder. Inhale, center and lean as far as you can. So we're stretching those thighs. Exhale, bring it forward and open the chest as you look over your left shoulder. So alternating those shoulders. Inhale back. Exhale, nice straight arms, press back as you look over your right shoulder. Let's do 1 more each way. Keep the glutes engaged. Keep squeezing a little bit into the bum cheeks. And we look over the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, we look over the right. We're going to do 1 more in the center. Maybe you feel you can go a little bit further, find that burn. And then exhale, we come forward. We're going to dive all the way back down towards our mat. We're going to walk those hands back out into your 4-point kneeling position. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And in this little table position, just lengthening out through the spine and feeling a nice openness through the chest as well. If your elbows hyperextend and lock, meaning that the inside of your elbow is facing forward, just soften those joints a little bit. We're going to hold this position and then without anybody knowing that it's happening, so you're not going to see any movement in the body, but I want you to push all of your weight through your right arm and your left shin. So you feel that connection from your left hip through to your right arm. And then again, without moving, let the weight shift over to your left arm and your right shin. So we're switching that cross pattern. If someone was to look at you, they wouldn't see any movement. It's all internal. All right, we go again. Right arm, left shin. Feel that little diagonal connection. Switch it over, left arm, right shin, so right hip through to left arm connecting. And then let's finish with the right arm and the left shin taking the weight, but your spine is still very much centered, your neck is still elongated. We're going to hold this position. Imagine that there was a tray of tea resting on your back. Without spilling the tea, slide that left arm forward and your right leg back behind you, and then lift those 2 limbs up. Your leg is going to be as straight as possible, reaching through to the toe. Your arm, we're going to flip the thumb to face up to the ceiling. You're going to try to get that arm as close to being in line with your ear as possible. So this is your Superman. Everything is elongated. We're going to inhale here. As you exhale, we're going to round the spine, bend your elbow and your knee in towards each other. Look at that knee and pull that knee in nice and tight so you turn yourself into a little ball. Inhale, reach back out into your Superman. Lengthen the back leg. Exhale, let's do 2 more. Try not to wobble too much here. We want to look for control in the movement. Inhale. Exhale 1 more time into our little ball. Pull that knee in nice and tight. Reach back out. Finish in your Superman. Try to just hold that Superman for a moment. Lengthening your spine, lengthening your back leg, but without opening up the hip. Your right hip bone is facing down to the floor. Hold your body here. Slide your hand and your knee in under your body. Switch the weight. Again, try not to lean too much while you do this. So now we have our right arm free. Slide that arm forward. Left leg goes back. Lift them up into your Superman. Keep the spine lengthened. Remember that always includes the neck. Flip the palm so your thumb is facing up. Reach back through that back leg. There's definitely a little squeeze in the bum cheek as well for that leg to be lifted. Inhale. As you exhale, we round the spine, elbow to knee. Draw those tummy muscles in as you pull your knee towards your rib cage. And then lengthen all the way back out. So let's go for 2 more. You're pushing strongly into that one arm. I know it might be getting a little bit tired. Reach back out. We've just got our last one coming up. Exhale and we scoop into our little ball. And then you lengthen everything out. So your arm and your leg are like an extension of your spine. Hold it there for a moment. And then bring your hand and your knee in underneath your body. Take the weight out of your wrists for a moment. And just go back towards your heels. Take 2 deep breaths here. And then we're going to come back up onto our hands and knees last time. So 4-point kneeling once again. Tuck the toes in behind you. Try to get all 10 toes to tuck. Lift those tummy muscles for support. The shoulder blades should feel nice and broad. We're going to go for a little hovering plank. If your wrists are getting tired and you want to do this on your fists, you're also welcome to be on your fists instead. So we're going to hover the knees just up off the mat, like just a millimeter, okay? And then hold yourself here. The only thing that's happening is that you're breathing for 5, 4, 3. We're going to transition to a downward facing dog. So start to lift the sitting bones towards the ceiling. Gently press your heels down towards the mat. Shoulders are out the ears. We're going to be looking at our feet and we're going to pedal those feet a few times, pushing one heel into the mat. Switch it over, so stretching those calves for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's press both heels towards your mat and then start to walk your hands backwards towards your feet. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. I just want you to get the weight in your feet and out of your arms. You can hang forward here for a moment, relaxing your neck. Softly bend your knees once again. Make sure your feet are hip width parallel. Take a deep breath. And we're going to roll up to stand. Gently pushing the hips forward as you roll up. Stacking one vertebra on top of the next until we come all the way up to stand. Once you're standing, roll your shoulders up and back for 3. 2 nice big circles. 1. And we go the other direction. For 3, 2, 1. And then we stay in our standing position. We're going to clasp our hands in front of the chest. I'm going to do the standing on my mat. If you prefer to be standing on the floor, it can make it a little bit easier for balance. So just see how the balance goes. So hands in front of the chest, back is lengthened. You're going to do like a little squat here. So narrow knee squat. You're going to hinge your hips back, lean your weight into your heels, bending your knees like you were coming down to sit in an imaginary chair. Make sure your knees are staying in line with your feet. They're not rolling in towards each other. Your back still feels quite lengthened, almost like a ski slope. And then just press yourself back up again. And let's just go for 3 of those. Inhale down. Exhale to press up. Last 2 and down. And we press up. And last 1. Down. And we press up. We're going to drop down. We're going to stay there. Alright, so drop down into your imaginary chair. Make sure you're not overarching your lower back. You do want to be connected to your core. We're going to stay here like there was a low ceiling where your head is. But you're going to shift all the weight into your left leg, which means you will sway a little bit over to the left-hand side, and your left leg is going to wake up. Alright, we're going to switch it over. You're going to sway over into your right leg. Push through that right foot, making sure that the knee alignment is staying there. And again, we go over to the right, so we sway a little bit. Not the right, sorry, the left. We go to the left. And we sway over to the right. Do 1 more each leg. We sway slightly into that left leg. And we sway over into the right leg. I'm going to go back to my left leg, so the first leg. You're going to get all the weight in the left leg so that your right leg is super, super light. So that as you come up to stand, you're able to lift your right leg, straighten that left leg and stand nice and tall on your left leg like a proud flamingo. Okay, we're going to drop back down again into our low chair. You're welcome to check that you are placing your feet where they're supposed to be as you drop down. Lean into your right leg. Push through your right leg. Your left leg is already light. As you come up to stand, that left leg just floats up, and we're standing tall on our right leg. And we drop down into our lower chair. We sway over into the left leg, so we're switching sides. Press through that left leg, come up to stand, nice and tall. Hopefully keeping our balance. And drop down. Like I said, if you struggle to balance on the mat, stepping onto a hard floor surface is a little bit easier. Push through that right leg, coming up to stand. We're going to do one more each side. And drop down, lower chair. Lean into that left leg, press up to stand. Last time, and drop down, lower chair. Lean into your right leg, and come up to stand. We're going to drop down, we're going to hold it. Drop down, hold. Lovely work. All right, still connected to the core, maybe a little bit lower if you can. Use your legs to gently pulse, like you were thinking about coming up off that chair, but you change your mind. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go all the way down with the body into your forward stretch. Once you're down, you can relax your neck, straighten your knees a little bit more. Take a deep breath in, and then we're going to roll up to stand. Pressing down through the feet, scoop the neck to the spine, and roll up through your spine. One vertebra at a time until we come up all the way to stand. We're going to come down onto our mats. I'm going to come to lie down on my back. So you can just make your way down anywhere that's comfortable. When you are lying on your back, your head should be able to rest on the floor. If you can't get your head to rest on the floor, just put a little something behind the back of your head to give your neck a little bit of support, because you do want to feel that your neck can relax. All right, knees are bent, knees and feet are hip width apart like they were when you were standing. Arms down beside the body, and we're looking for our neutral spine. So you want to feel a sort of weight in your pelvis. Your pelvis feels nice and heavy and centered on the mat. There should be a little bit of space underneath your lower back. So neutral spine being that kind of natural S curve to your spine is in position. So a little gap under the lower back, shoulder blades nice and broad against the mat. And then, of course, a little gap behind the back of your neck as well. We're going to tuck the chin in a little bit, like you want to give yourself a double chin, just to lengthen the back of the neck. And everything should be nicely centered here. We're looking for symmetry in the body throughout your Pilates class. The feet are about 1 foot's distance away from your sitting bone, so not too far away from you. You can always adjust it if you need to as we go up. All right, from here, slide shoulders away from the ears. In your neutral spine, take a deep breath in. You want to feel your ribs open on your inhale breath. As you exhale, we're going to close the rib cage and we're going to close the space underneath your lower back. So we're lengthening the lower back into the mat, which automatically means you are tucking your pelvis. We're going to keep the tuck of the pelvis. You're going to start to press down into your feet, and we're going to curl the pelvis off the mat. Lifting the pelvis and then rolling up through your lower back, rolling up through your mid-back, maybe a little bit of your upper back. You're only going as high in your bridge position as you can go, that you still feel like your tailbone is tucked in, so not overarching your lower back, and not putting any weight into your neck. The weight's in your shoulders and your feet. Grip your feet into the mat, that includes your toes. The knees are just staying in line with your hips as though you were holding a yoga block between your knees. Squeeze into the bum cheeks, you need those glutes. Take a deep breath. And then we're going to roll back down, and I'm looking for spinal articulation on the way down. So one vertebra at a time connecting to your mat. Stretch out the lower back. As your pelvis lands on your mat, you go back to your neutral position. So the space under the lower back returns, the legs can relax for a moment, and we're going to go again. Inhale, breath to prepare. As you exhale, we close the space under the lower back, tuck the tailbone, draw those tummy muscles down, lift your pelvis, and let's roll our way back up into our bridge position. Also looking for spinal articulation on the way up. It's not a chunk of spine lifting, it's all smooth as you roll your way up. Keep your hips elevated, and just see if it's possible to drop your rib cage a little bit. We don't want to feel that we're flaring the rib cage. Take a deep breath to hold, grip your feet into your mat, and then melt your spine back down. The chest stays broad as you come down, vertebra for vertebra, lengthening your sitting bones towards your heels. Land your pelvis, relax again back to your neutral spine. Check that those shoulders are staying away from the ears. If it's not comfortable for your shoulders, having your palms facing down as I have it, you can flip the palms to face up. That makes it easier for you to have that open chest position. We're going to go up one more time. Before we go up, just do a little check that where you are, you can comfortably lift your heels off the mat. If you feel like you need to adjust your feet, you can adjust a little bit. All right, feet flat on the mat to start with. Still that little tuck of the chin, that little double chin happening. We're going to breathe in and then exhale, off we go. So navel to spine, feel that abdominal connection, lengthen your lower back into your mat. And then roll yourself up into your bridge. Remembering your bridge is up to you, how high you want to go in the bridge, but your back should feel supported, almost like you're wearing a little corset around your waist. You just tighten that corset so your back is supported. Both sides of your hips should be the same height. You can always use your hands just to double check. In fact, let's do that. Let's lift our hands. Let's place those hands onto our hip bones so you can feel where your pelvis is. It's quite nice. Just to make sure that pelvis is stable for our heel raises. So push into the balls of your feet and lift both of your heels up. Then tap your heels back down. That's all we're doing. We're going to lift the heels, lower the heels, and let's go for 6. Keep breathing. Tap the heels down. And 5. The hips are staying elevated. Last 4. And 3. Make sure your big toes are staying anchored into your mat. 2. On the last one, I want you to lift your heels and keep them lifted deep in the tuck of your tailbone. Lift your hips a little bit higher, so squeeze the bum cheeks. Keep your hips here. Plant your heels back down into the mat. Grip your feet into the mat as though you're trying to pull your feet towards your body. So hamstrings are working, quads are working, the legs are active. And then you can relax your arms down again. Take a deep breath. And we're going to melt the spine down one more time. Your spine should feel nicely centered as you roll back down into your mat. Remember to look for that symmetry. Land your pelvis on your mat. Soften to your neutral position in your spine. So that little curve under the lower back again. And then sweep your arms out wide to the sides of the room. Palms facing up into your T position. So it's a straight line from one hand to the other. Walk your feet and your knees together. We're going to squeeze those legs together like you've just got one giant leg instead of 2 separate legs now. Shoulder blades are going to stay nice and flat and broad on your mat. Think of your shoulder blades being glued into your mat, okay? And then from there we're going to mini spine twist. So keep the legs together but gently tilt your pelvis over to the right. Which means your left foot and the left side of your pelvis is going to lift off the mat. Go as far as you can that you can still keep your left shoulder blade down. So probably about sort of halfway down towards the floor. And then exhale, bring it back through to the center again. Then we twist the other way. So tilt over to the left and you're going to feel the right side of your pelvis lift away from your mat. And exhale, squeeze the legs together and draw it back to center. Inhale, twisting over to the right. So the twist is happening in the lower half of your spine. That's where the movement is. Exhale, center. Your shoulders are anchored and your legs are just moving because your spine is twisting. Don't think of your legs leading the movement. Think of your back leading the movement and center. We're going to do one more each way. Inhale, tilt the pelvis to the right. Rocking over that pelvis, come back to the center. And inhale, tilt to the left. Make sure you have done equal amounts on both sides before we come back to the center once again. So we're going to land everything back in the center. And then we're going to separate the feet and the knees back out to hip width apart. And we're going to sweep those arms back behind you like you want to reach your fingertips for the wall behind you. So we're just opening up through our shoulders. We're going to lift straight arms over the chest, palms shining towards your knees. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, start to curl your head and your shoulders up, tipping those hands forward towards your knees. So we're coming up into a chest lift. Once you've got your chest lifted, keep your chest at this height, but bring your hands behind your head, interlacing your fingers. Your hands are here to give your neck a little bit of support. I want the legs to feel very light, as though your feet were resting on very thin ice. So you're not using your legs, use your abs and try to come up a little bit higher as you inhale. And then on the exhale, we're going to lengthen back down again, resting your head in your hands and coming back to your neutral spine. Elbows will stay slightly lifted up to the ceiling just to keep a nice broad neutral shoulder position, almost like a little hammock that's supporting your neck. Inhale, feel the ribs open up. Use your exhale breath to curl your chest back up again. Keep some space between the chin and the chest. The lift is with your chest rather than your neck. And then think about trying to flatten your abdominal muscles as much as possible. So they're not popping up, they're pushing down. Feet are still light. Come up a little higher, take a breath, and then lower yourself gently back down again with control, back in the middle of your mat. Inhale. Exhale, we're coming up one more time, curling up and over that rib cage, feet staying light. We're going to do little pulses, not pulling with your arms. You're pulsing just from under the rib cage, up just a millimeter higher for 5, 4, keep breathing, 3, last 2, last 1, hold and flatten those tummy muscles, and then lower all the way back down. We're going to lengthen into our mats. We're going to stay here, and I want you to take your awareness to your pelvis. Neutral centered pelvis is going to stay in position, but your right leg is going to become very light, and we're going to float that right leg up into a tabletop position. So you've got the knee over the hip, knee is bent to 90, and just a nice long ankle here. Your hips haven't moved, you're still centered, and you're still neutral. Take a deep breath, and then curl the head and the chest back up again. So we're going to come back up into our beautiful chest lift. You're kind of just on the bottom edge of your shoulder blades here. From here, I'm going to rotate my chest over to the right. So think about getting your left armpit towards your right knee. Then bring your chest back to the center. Keep it nice and lifted, and just let your right toe lightly touch the floor. Lift your right leg and rotate towards it, so same direction. Tap your toe and center your chest. Keep your elbows wide. Exhale, let's go for 3. Rotate to the right. And tap your toe. Last 2, rotate to the right. And tap your toe. Last 1, exhale, rotate towards that knee. And tap the toe. Keep your chest up. Just bring that right leg back up one more time so that you can look at your leg as you straighten it. We're going to straighten the knee as much as you can. Flex that ankle. Release your hands from behind your head and lower your head back down onto your mat. Open your arms back into your T position, nice wide position. Try to find that neutral spine, neutral pelvis, even though you've got that one leg extended. If you need a little bend in the knee, that's okay. We're going to keep the pelvis nice and stable, and just that right leg, that elongated leg, is going to drop down straight towards your mat about halfway down. And we're going to draw a circle out to the right with that leg. So circling in the hip, open the leg out to the right and circle it back up towards the ceiling. It's more like a half circle, I suppose. So you're taking it down first, inhale, and then you draw that half circle out to the right. The other leg should not be moving. Your pelvis is staying nicely anchored against the mat, no wobbles. Circle it around. You should be feeling that hip warming up nicely. Let's go 2 more. Remember to breathe. 1 more time. Keep your foot flexed. It's a nice active stretch for the leg. We're going to change direction. So open your leg out to the right now, so you'll get that inner thigh stretch first. Then drop the leg down towards the mat and travel back up towards the ceiling. Inhale, open. Exhale, around. If you're worried that your hips are moving, you can put your hands on your hips just to feel that you're kind of stabilizing them a little bit while you circle around in the hip. We're going to do 2 more. If there's a little bit of popping and clicking in the hip, it's okay, it's normal. 1 more time. Exhale, around. With that right leg in the air, you can bend the knee at last, and you can put your right ankle onto your left knee. So we're going to create like a little number 4 with our legs. Bring your arms beside your body, ideally palms facing down so we can push a little bit into the arms. Neutral spine. Your right knee is opening out to the right, so we're opening up that hip, and your foot is flexed. Think about vacuum packing your spine in a neutral position, so we're not rolling through the spine this time. It's just a hip hinge. It's just so that we can open up our hips, push into your left leg, and send your hips up into the ceiling, so that you open up those hips and you squeeze the left bum cheek, and then drop back down. You can decide how high up you're going. Make sure your neck feels comfortable. Let's do 2 more. We press up and down. Last one, we're going to hold it. Press up and then stay here. I want your left hip, so the leg that's secure against the mat, doesn't move. But your right hip and your right knee that are floating in the air, they're going to droop down towards the floor. So you're going to end up getting a little rotation in your lower back, hopefully deepening that hip stretch. and then you're going to lift the hip and the knee back up to their starting position. If this causes back pain, don't droop too low, otherwise go for 2 more. Droop, exhale, and lift the hip back up. One more time, let that hip drop. Exhale, lift that hip back up. Hinge and drop your hips back down onto your mat in a nice centered position, and then unravel the legs and pop your right foot down onto your mat. Feet and knees back to hip width apart. Take your arms up and stretch them all the way back behind you, reaching your hands to the wall behind you. Lift your arms over your chest. Inhale. Exhale, let's curl the head and the shoulders back up. So rounding back up into our beautiful chest lift position, circling those arms around and interlacing the fingers behind the back of your head to give your neck a little bit of support. You're looking kind of just over the top of your knees here. Flatten your tummy muscles. Take a deep breath and then lower yourself gently back down. With your hands still behind your head in your little hammock position, back in your neutral centered pelvis and spine. This time it will be your left leg, so we're going to do it all on the other side. Left leg is going to float up into tabletop without anything else moving. Hold that leg there, breathe in. Use your exhale to curl your chest back up again, rounding through that upper spine. Keep the elbows wide. We're going to rotate the chest to the left this time, as though you're trying to bring your right armpit towards your left knee. When you center your chest, you just let that toe lightly touch the floor, just moving from the hip. Lift from the hip, rotate again to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale and rotate. We're going to go 2 more. The other leg should be staying perfectly still. And rotate. And our last one. Exhale, rotate. Bring your chest back to center, but keep your chest lifted. Bring that left leg up so that you can see it while we straighten it out as much as you can. Flex your foot and then release your hands and lower your head down to your mat. Relax your head and your neck. Open your arms back to your T position, or put your hands on your hips if you want to stabilize your hips. For your leg circles, let that pelvis feel nice and heavy and anchored. The hips do not move. Your left leg goes down towards the mat as you inhale. We open out to the left-hand side of the room to draw your circle in your hip back up to the ceiling. Inhale down. You can decide how big the circles are, as long as you feel like you're in control. 3 more. Your upper body is relaxed and just anchored against the mat. Inhale. Exhale, the other leg isn't moving. Let's go for our last one. And we go down, out and around. Bring that leg back up to the ceiling. Check the foot is still flexed. We're going to reverse those circles. Open out to the left. So inner thigh stretch. Drop down towards your mat. And bring that leg straight back up over your hip. If you need a little bend in the knee, that's absolutely fine, as long as you're still feeling the stretch. Let's go for 3 more. You will feel it a little bit in the hip as well. Try to stay with me for 2. And around. Last one. We go open. Down. All the way around. Keep the leg lifted, but you can bend your knee before placing your ankle onto the opposite knee. So left ankle on right knee for your little figure 4. Flex your left foot and try to open your left knee up a little bit. Lengthen your arms beside your body. A little tuck of the chin again, just to protect your neck before we go up into a bridge. So just pushing into that right leg. If you need to adjust where your right foot is, you're also welcome to do that. We're going to push those hips up. I'm pushing a little bit into the arms as well. Open up the hips and hinge back out so you land right back in the middle of your mat. And again, we press up for 2. And land it back down. Last one. Exhale, press up. This time we hold it. You're going to keep your right hip exactly where it is. So anchor that right leg, but let your left hip and knee droop a little bit so we get that little rotation. And then exhale, lift it back up again. If there's back pain, don't droop too much. We do 2 more. And we lift. We've got our last one. Inhale. Exhale, lift. And then we land your pelvis back in the middle of your mat. Unravel your legs. We're going to hug the right leg into the chest. We're going to reach the left leg out along the mat. Just for a little stretch. Squeeze that knee in. Give it a hug. Breathe deep. Let's switch over the legs. Hug your left knee into your chest. If you can't pull it straight into your chest, slightly out towards the armpit is also an option. I'm going to bring bring both knees into my chest. Hook the hands behind the knees. If there's any pain in the back and you feel that you can't roll up with momentum, please do use your hands instead. Otherwise, lift your head and use momentum just to rock yourself all the way up. All right, from here, we're going to transition onto our knees. So I'm going to be in my high kneeling position, kind of in the middle of my mat here, staying on the left knee, extending the right leg out to the side. If there's discomfort under the knee, you can also add a little bit of extra cushioning under your knee if you need to. Your foot should be directly behind your knee. Your hips are shining forward, and we're going to take our arms out to the side. Relax the shoulders away from the ears, and then from here, you're just going to lean your body over to the left-hand side until you are just a straight line with your leg, and that includes your neck. Hold yourself here and lift both of your arms towards your ears like a ballerina. Open your arms as you inhale, and then exhale, draw yourself back up again, feeling that little connection into the waist. So we lean on the inhale, arms go up as you exhale, that just makes it a little bit heavier. Open the arms and draw yourself back up again. Let's do 2 more, and we inhale. Exhale, open the arms and lift. 1 more time, inhale. Exhale, open the arms and lift. Flipping the palm down, we're going to land on our hand this time. So hand under your shoulder, and then slide this knee that's under your hip towards the opposite foot so that you can gently land on the side of your thigh. Because we're going to go into some side planks. All right. You can do this on your hand or you can be on your elbow. All right. My hand is pretty much underneath my shoulder, fingers facing away from my feet. The knee is on the mat, so we are going to be using our knee. I want you to push through that bottom arm so the shoulder is nice and strong to start with. Free arm reaching towards your toes. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. So we push into that bottom knee and we lift. You can take your free arm up so that you've got that kind of T position, and then gently lower back down. Stay pushing into your arm, and off we go. We're going to go for 4 and down. Exhale for 3 and down. Last 2 and down. Last one, we're going to try and hold it. Press up, keep that bottom arm strong, and we stay here for 5, 4. If your neck gets tired, you can look down. 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way down. Stay on your side. Lengthen out your arm, and we're going to come to lie down. All right. I'm going to straighten out both of the legs here, resting on your bottom arm. If you prefer to use a little cushion or a towel as well, you're welcome to do that. Your neck should be able to feel quite comfortable and relaxed. If you look down, you should be able to see your feet, so your legs are just slightly in front of your body. Think about reaching your top leg over your bottom leg, so your legs are the same length, your hips are stacked, and we are connected to the core. If there was a wall behind you, you'd just be pressing your spine up against that wall. Try to wrap the heels in towards each other and hover your legs just up off the floor. All right, so those inner thighs are staying working. They're glued together. Take a deep breath. And exhale, pulling your top hip towards you. You're going to lift your legs a little bit higher, even if it's just a centimeter. And then bring it back just to the hover. Exhale as you lift. Try to keep the legs together, working into the waist. And back to your hover. If you don't need your hand for balance, you can just float it above your thigh. Make sure your neck is staying relaxed, your top shoulder is open. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. The work again is kind of mostly in the back and the waist. If you're feeling pain in your back, just bring your legs further forward. Let's just go for 4 more. And last 3. Beautiful work. Last 2. Last 1. We're going to lift, squeezing into that top section of the waist. Lengthen through the waist, lower your legs back down. Bend your bottom knee slightly out in front of your body so you can use that knee for balance. We're going to lift our top leg up a little higher than your hip. We're going to stabilize that top hip just by holding it. I want that top leg super straight, foot flexed, knees straight. You're moving from the hip to bring the leg forward, and you're going to pulse it forward twice. 2, 1. Point your ankle, draw the leg behind you, squeezing into the bum cheek, and pulse it. 2, 1. Exhale, we go forward for 2 pulses. Inhale, we take it back. Try not to move from the lower back here. We're moving in the hip. So think almost about tucking your tailbone as you take your leg back. 5 more. Trying to keep your upper body nice and stable. Last 4. That second pulse is there for you to go a little bit further. Last 3. And back. Back. Last 2. And back. Back. Last 1. And back. Back, bring the leg in line with your body. Flex that ankle. Imagine someone grabbed your foot and tried to pull your foot away from your ear so you are lengthened. Lift it a little higher and then hold it here and breathe for 5. 4, we're feeling all the feels in the hip. 3, 2, and 1. Lower that leg down. Bring both of your knees up in front of your hips. And then bring your arms out in front of you. You can use a cushion here for your head if you need to. You want to be able to roll comfortably onto the back of your head to look up at the ceiling. And then take your top arm and just open up your chest like a hook. We're going to take 2 deep breaths. It's okay if your knees slide a little bit. Make sure your neck is happy. And then we're going to close the book, lift that arm, roll back around. We're going to press up to come into a full plank position. All right, we are going to do the other side after this plank. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. You're welcome to plank on your elbows if you prefer that. So a nice broad upper back. I'm pushing through the arms. Slight tuck of the tailbone to protect your lower back. Tuck your toes. And now your back pretty much stays like this. We're going to hover the knees a millimeter off the mat again. Without letting your back change position, it stays. Slide one leg all the way back into full plank. Slide the other leg back all the way back to full plank. Keep your core engaged and breathe. We're going to hold it for 10, 9, 8. Go to your happy place. Think about keeping the neck nice and lengthened. 6, 5, 4. Keep the legs strong. 3, 2, and 1. Bring one knee back onto the mat. Other knee back onto the mat. Take the weight out your hands and roll yourself all the way up. All right, other side. Okay, so back on our knees. This time taking the other leg out to the side. Hips are shining forward. Knee directly underneath your hip. And arms out to the side. Relax the shoulders. We're going to have a little bend in the elbows. We're going to go for our lean first, so you find that nice long diagonal line with your leg. And then lifting both arms. Make sure you do bring that bottom arm up. Open the arms and float back up, working into your waist. Inhale. Exhale. Open the arms and lift back up. Everything just stays shining forward and lift. Open and back up with your body. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Open the arms and lift. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Nice ballerina arms. Good. Open them and lift. Bring that hand down to your mat so you can look to see where your hand is going, and then sliding your knee towards the other foot so that you can gently come onto your thigh. The knee will be slightly in front of your hip. Again, you're welcome to do this on your elbow if your wrists don't like this pressure. I'm going to push strongly through that arm. Nice strong bottom arm here. Free hand reaching out over your thigh. Breathe in to prepare. Push through your bottom knee. Push through your hand and lift. Arms coming into a T. Making sure that your hand is more or less underneath your shoulder here. And then gently lower back onto your thigh. And let's do 4 more. Press up. And down. Good. So feeling that lift from the waist. Yes, the arm is working, but so is the core. And down. Exhale. And down. We're going to stay up on the last one if you can. Push through the bottom arm. Press up and hold for 5, 4, 3, yes, 2, and last one. All the way down. And then we're going to take the weight out of our arm. And we're going to come to lie all the way on that arm. Straighten out both of your legs. Again, you can use a cushion. You can bend the bottom arm as well if that feels more comfortable for your neck and your shoulder. Lengthen the top leg over the bottom leg. We want to be able to see those legs, and they should be the same length. unless you legitimately have one leg longer than the other, but then I think you would know about that. All right, hips are stacked. We're going to hover the legs. We're going to find our balance here with those legs floating. Breathe in. And exhale, we lift them a little bit higher. So you're thinking about pulling the hip in and then lengthening the hip away from you. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. If you don't need your hand on the mat for balance, hover your arm, keeping your chest open, keeping your neck relaxed, making sure you're breathing just for 5. Try to keep those legs squeezing together. Last 4. Last 3. And smile. Last 2, it's nearly over. Our last one, we pick those legs up, squeeze into the top of the waist, and then lower your legs all the way down. Bend your bottom knee out in front of you. We're using this leg for balance, that's why it's here. The hips are still stacked on top of each other. You're still connected to your core for stability. Lift your leg up, hold that hip, flex your ankle. The leg is a little bit higher than hip height, and the knee is shining forward. We hinge from the hip, 2 pulses forward as you exhale. Exhale, point your ankle, hinge back, inhale. Inhale, exhale, forward, 2 pulses and back. Keeping the tailbone slightly tucked, especially when the leg goes back. You should be feeling this in your hip rather than your lower back. And forward, forward and back. Back, last 3. Try to keep the upper body as still as possible. You're in control, even though it's a dynamic movement. Last 1. And back, back. Bring the leg in line with your body. Flex that ankle, reach all the way through to the heel, feeling that length through to the heel. Lift it a little higher. Hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the leg. Let's take it into our stretch, bringing those knees in front of your hips like you're sitting in a little imaginary chair. Arms forward. You can have support for your head. We want to be able to roll onto the back of our head so that your neck is comfortable before opening up your chest into your little book stretch. Take 2 deep breaths. Lift your arm, roll back around to face forward, flipping back around. We're going to do one last plank here. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, or you can be on those elbows if you want to. Broaden through your upper back, tuck your toes, little tuck in of the tailbone, navel to spine. Hover the knees just up off the mat. Hold this position, take one leg back, just 2 minutes, and other leg back. And hold your plank for 10, 9, 8, again, go to your happy place, 7, 6, 5, 4, are we still breathing? 3, 2, 1, bring one knee in, bring the other knee in. You can open your knees out a little bit wider, press your hips back towards your heels, and take it into your rest position. Find a comfortable spot for your head. And let's take 2 deep breaths. Slide your hands back towards your knees. Knees and feet hip width apart. Tuck the toes underneath you. We're going to roll over onto our feet so that you can get the weight on your feet. Hang your body forward and check your feet are hip width parallel. Knees are soft. Relax your head and gently shake your head up and down like you're saying yes please. Just a small movement, releasing any tension from your neck. And nodding, no, it was a nod up and down. Now it's a shake side to side. Saying no more Pilates. Relax your head in the center, keep your knees soft, inhale, and exhale, slowly start to roll up, stacking one vertebra on top of the next, just in a nice flowing movement, until you are standing. Inhale, breath, reaching the arms up. Exhale, floating them down. And then we are all done. Well done. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it.